Isn't it strange? We have thousands of friends online, but so many of us feel deeply alone. So, how do we fix this? In this explainer, we're going to dive into the key ideas from the book Sambadoni Setu, which means the bridge of relationships, to figure out how we can start rebuilding the connections that actually matter.
Wow, that really hits home, doesn't it? It just perfectly nails this strange situation we're all in. We've got all this digital connection at our fingertips, but the most important relationships, the ones with the people right there in our own homes, are often the ones falling apart. So let's get into why this is happening, and more importantly, what we can actually do about it. Just think back a little bit. Families used to gather around, they'd talk, they'd share what happened in their day. That connection was real, it was tangible. Now, picture a living room today. You might see four family members sitting on the same sofa, but each one is just lost in the glow of their own screen. Physically, they're together, but mentally, they're a million miles apart. This is the reality we've got to face.
So, what's really going on here? What's causing this massive disconnect? Well, the book points to two huge, kind of invisible forces that have snuck into our lives and are building walls between us, what it calls the digital wall and the comparison trap.
So, have you ever heard of this term phubbing? It's a mix of phone and snubbing. It sounds a little silly, right? But the damage it does is no joke. Every single time you phub someone, you're sending them a very clear message. Whatever's on my phone is more important than you are right now. And over time, that creates so much resentment and a deep, painful loneliness in our most important relationships. The good news is we can absolutely tear down this digital wall. It just takes a few small, conscious choices. First, just make eye contact. When someone is talking to you, put the phone down and give them the gift of your complete attention. Second, get a handle on your notifications. Not every buzz and ding needs you to drop everything. And third, and this one is huge, create some sacred gadget-free time. A simple no gadget hour at the dinner table can completely transform the feeling in your home. Okay, so that brings us to the second big problem, this comparison trap. We're all scrolling through social media, and what are we doing? We're comparing our messy, complicated, behind-the-scenes life with everyone else's perfect, filtered, on-stage performance. It's a totally rigged game that we can never win, and it's basically designed to make us feel like our lives aren't good enough.
So, how do we get out of this trap? Well, first things first, you have to constantly remind yourself social media is a highlight reel. It's not real life. People post their victories, not their everyday struggles. Second, create some boundaries. Try staying off your phone for the first 30 minutes when you wake up and the last 30 minutes before bed. Third, the only person you should ever compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. And finally, try keeping a gratitude journal. Seriously, focusing on what you do have is the quickest way to stop worrying about what you don't. Okay, so we've talked about the symptoms, right? The digital walls, the comparison trap, but, that's all just the surface stuff, like the leaves on a tree. If we really want to fix the problem, we have to dig deeper and look at the roots. The book gets into these fundamental issues that are really corroding our relationships from the inside out. The book really zeroes in on three core issues. It calls them the cancers that just eat away at our connections. First, there's this mountain of expectations we have, where we're always trying to change people instead of just accepting them for who they are. Second is what it calls the death of communication, where we're talking, sure, but we're just exchanging information, not our real feelings. And third, that constant battle between our ego and self-respect, where being right suddenly becomes more important than the relationship itself. All right, so we've diagnosed the problems, but what's the cure, right? It's not enough to just know what's wrong. Well, the book lays out this awesome toolkit with 5 really practical rules to bring that strength and, well, sweetness back into our relationships. Okay, rule number 1, active listening. And this is way more than just, not talking. It's about listening to understand, to connect, not just waiting for your turn to speak. There's this great example in the book of a husband, Manoj, who just puts down the TV remote to really, truly hear his wife, Geeta, talk about her stressful day. He doesn't try to fix her problems. He just listens. And you know what? Sometimes that's the most loving thing you can possibly do. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, the person who actually genuinely listens, well, that's like having a superpower. It's a gift that doesn't cost a thing, but it's worth everything. All right, on to rule number 2, create a no gadget zone. And listen, this one is a game changer. It's totally non-negotiable. For just 30 to 60 minutes a day, especially at dinner or before bed, all the phones go away. This one simple rule creates the space for real conversations to actually happen. It's how one father in the book, Ravi, reconnected with his teenage son, Aryan.
not through a screen, but by just talking face to face.
Man, this is such a powerful reminder of what we can't get back. The notifications, the texts, the emails, they'll all still be there in an hour. But those precious moments with the people you love, they won't be. It's all about making memories, not just staging photos for your feed. Rule number 3. This one feels so simple, but it is so powerful. It's all about gratitude. It is so easy to take the people closest to us for granted, isn't it? Their daily efforts just become our expectations. We need to break that cycle. A simple thank you for a meal that was cooked for you, like the example of Ashok praising Nita's cooking, can turn something routine into a real moment of connection and appreciation. I love this line. Don't be stingy with praise. Think of it like this. Appreciation is literally the fuel that keeps a relationship going. When you acknowledge the small things, you create an atmosphere where people feel seen, they feel valued, and they feel loved. Okay, rule number 4, the art of letting go. And yeah, this can be a really tough one for a lot of us. Bringing up old mistakes as weapons in a new fight is just toxic. When you've resolved an issue, you have to let it be buried. As one character, Meshva, learns when she stops herself from starting an old fight with Sagar, forgiveness isn't some big favor you're doing for them. It's a gift of peace you give to yourself. This is such a great way to think about it. Your mind is not a dustbin. You wouldn't keep trash in your living room, so why store old, bitter complaints in your head? To keep a relationship feeling fresh and alive, you've got to let go of the old stories and start each day new. And that brings us to our final rule, number 5, personal space and respect. Healthy love is not about owning someone. It's about being partners. Every single person needs their own time, their own hobbies, their own friends. I mean, constantly checking their phone or needing updates, that's not love, you guys, that's distrust. Trusting your partner enough to give them freedom, like Malik encouraging Riddhi to go have fun with her friends, that is one of the strongest ways to show your love. And this last quote just wraps it all up so perfectly. Love shouldn't feel like a cage, right? It should feel like it's setting you free to be your best self. A relationship that's built on that kind of trust, well, that's a relationship that is truly unbreakable. Okay, so we've covered a lot. We've looked at the problems and we've walked through the solutions. We've seen how these digital walls, this constant comparison, our own expectations, and ego can really damage our connections. But we've also seen how a few simple rules can start to rebuild everything. It all comes down to this. Building that bridge, that's up to you. So let's just recap that toolkit one more time. Listen and listen with your whole heart. Put the phone away and actually talk to people. Accept them for who they are, not who you wish they were. Say thank you for the little things. And just, please, never forget that life is so short. Your relationships are the only real wealth you'll ever have. So I want to leave you with one final, very simple question. After all of this, who are you going to connect with? Right now, today. Whose hand will you hold? Who will you look in the eye? And truly, honestly ask, how are you? That one small step could be the beginning of rebuilding your most important bridge.